So, version 6.3 is shaping up to be very different from what we usually expect from a mid-cycle update. And today, I want to break down everything we can realistically expect from the 6.3 special program, not based on leaks, not on wild theories, but on official patterns, past update structures, and what the community has consistently noticed so far. We'll start with the special program timing, then move into the new promotional poster and what it's quietly suggesting, followed by a deep look at the new characters and how their kits could change team building. After that, we'll talk about banner structure, why Lantern Rite looks especially important this time, and finally, we'll wrap up with regions, bosses, artifacts, and what all of this tells us about the overall direction of the update. This isn't just a checklist video. This feels like a turning point. The version 6.3 special program is officially scheduled for January 2nd, and it's set to air simultaneously across multiple regions. What's interesting here isn't just the date, it's the time. Compared to many past live streams, this one is scheduled earlier in the day, which strongly suggests it's being hosted alongside an offline or in-person event. We've seen this exact pattern before when Hoyoverse wanted to frame a version as something more celebratory or more important than usual. So even before we talk about content, the scheduling alone already hints that 6.3 is being positioned as a major version, not just another routine update. As always, the live stream should include 3 limited-time redeem codes worth about 300 Primogems total, and they usually expire very quickly, so if you plan to watch live, or even if you don't, make sure you don't miss those. Now let's talk about the first thing that caught everyone's attention, the new promotional poster. This artwork doesn't feel casual at all. It's densely packed with major characters, including multiple harbingers, and the overall composition feels more like a climax setup than a standard patch teaser. Dottore dominates the center of the image, taking up a huge amount of visual space. And when Hoyoverse does that, it's rarely accidental. It strongly suggests that whatever happens in 6.3, he's not just present, he's pivotal. At the same time, Sandrone's placement feels heavy and emotionally distant. Her expression alone has already sparked a lot of discussion because it doesn't read as neutral. It reads like weight, consequence, and inevitability. Another detail players keep pointing out is the positioning between Aether and Columbina. They're not just near each other, they're visually mirrored. That kind of framing naturally pushes viewers to think about duality, reflection, cause and effect, or even parallel perspectives. None of this confirms specific plot points, but the poster clearly wants us to think about contrast and convergence. Every gaze direction, every pose, every spacing choice feels intentional. Version 6.3 appears to center around 3 long-awaited characters, Columbina, Zibai, and Iluga. What's immediately noticeable is that all 3 seem connected by a shared design goal, pushing Geo and Hydro toward a more reaction-focused identity. Columbina, Hydro Catalyst Support/Sub DPS. Columbina is expected to be a Hydro Catalyst who sits between support and sub DPS. Her skill appears to create a persistent Hydro field that follows the active character, continuously applying Hydro and generating a special resource whenever reactions are triggered. Once that resource reaches certain thresholds, she performs follow-up attacks that adapt to the dominant reaction type being triggered by the team. Her burst expands this concept into a larger domain that boosts reaction output for the entire party, scaling higher the more consistently reactions are maintained. Her passives reinforce this loop by improving follow-up damage, scaling part of her power with HP, and rewarding rhythm and consistency. Her constellations don't radically change her playstyle. Instead, they smooth rotations, extend uptime, and make her reaction loop more stable. In practice, Columbina feels like an off-field enabler who rewards patterned, coordinated gameplay rather than chaotic button spam. Next, Zibai, Geo Sword main DPS reaction-oriented. Zibai appears to be a Geo Sword main DPS, but with a very different philosophy from older Geo characters. Her skill places her into an empowered combat state, converting attacks into Geoganage tied to a lunar crystallize mechanic. These attacks build a resource that can be spent on heavier follow-up strikes. Her burst seems to unleash a sustained Geo attack sequence, with parts of the damage counting as lunar crystallize output, reinforcing her reaction identity. What's especially notable is her scaling. She appears to benefit from both defense and elemental mastery. This directly ties Geo damage to reaction performance. Her constellations extend her empowered state, improve reaction reliability, and smooth out damage flow across rotations. Instead of shielding first and attacking second, Zibai plays like a timing-based frontline DPS, where resource management and reaction planning matter. Next, Iluba, Geo Support, Reaction Amplifier. Iluga completes the trio as a Geo support built entirely around synergy. His skill provides quick Geo application, while his burst creates a state where teammates gain buffs or stacks that are consumed when triggering Geo damage or lunar crystallize reactions. Her passives focus on boosting Geo damage, increasing elemental mastery, and strengthening reaction output for the whole team. Rather than dealing damage himself, Iluga functions as a reaction amplifier, enabling teams like Zibai-centered comps to reach their full potential. Together, these three characters point to a very clear message. Version 6.3 isn't about bigger numbers, it's about better interaction. Geo and Hydro are being reimagined as elements that thrive on timing, rhythm, and synergy, rather than isolation. That alone could significantly reshape how players approach team building moving forward. Based on historical patterns, the expected banner structure looks like this. Phase 1, Columbina paired with Infa, introduces the core reaction system early on, provides immediate team synergy. Phase 2, Zibai, likely paired with Nuvellet, Lantern Right timing, Nuvellet's skin connection, Geo reaction spotlight. This kind of structure creates a natural progression, first interaction, then specialization. Lantern Rite is consistently one of Genshin's biggest seasonal events. It historically brings 1 premium 5-star skin, 1 free 4-star skin, large reward pools, mini-quests, and games. In several past versions, players were also able to choose a free Liyue 4-star character, making Lantern Rite one of the most generous events of the year. Even if exact details aren't confirmed yet, the structure itself is extremely consistent, which makes these expectations reasonable. Artifact sets tied to 6.3 appear to reinforce everything we've talked about so far. One set focused on off-field reaction scaling, another rewarding consistent multi-type damage. Artifacts often reveal design intent before players even test characters, and here the intent is clear. Version 6.3 doesn't feel like a simple content drop. It feels like a mechanical and narrative pivot point, a version designed to quietly reshape how certain elements function and how teams are built. Geo and Hydro aren't being replaced, they're being redefined. If you want more breakdowns like this as we get closer to release, feel free to subscribe. And let me know in the comments, does this direction excite you, or are you cautious about such a big shift?